What is up, people of YouTube? Welcome to another day in paradise. For those of you guys who are new, my name is Cody McCarty, and today we are going to be comparing the very popular new cameras, the Canon EOS R6 and the A7S III. Those boxes didn't sound empty, did they? Now, both of these cameras are amazing cameras, phenomenal cameras, more than you could need, but there are some nuances that will be the deciding factor in which camera you get. Now, the A7S III is going to be the better video camera by a margin. If it's a substantial margin, I'm gonna let you guys decide, but let's first show you guys some footage and see if you guys can tell the difference.
For better days to come and carry us like wind in our sails. Hold on tight, I can smell the shore, it's right in front of us if we just hold on tight. This vision that I saw is getting closer every dawn.
Now, if you guys were wondering, camera A was a Canon EOS R6 and camera B was a Sony A7S III. Now, the footage from both of those cameras was edited using my LUTs that I have generated for both of these. I generated two LUTs for the S-Log footage. One's a full color grade and one is a utility LUT. And the full color grade ended up being great on these clips. And then the Canon is just a utility LUT that requires just a little bit of tweaking and some adding of saturation. Both LUTs are available for purchase down below. Now, the A7S III currently retails for about $35.98, I think. I can't remember. Put the price on the screen. And the EOS R6 retails for $24.99. There's a $1,000 difference between these two cameras. Now, the A7S III is garnered mostly towards video. It can take photos, but let's just call it a video camera because that's pretty much what it is. The Canon EOS R6 boasts 8 more megapixels, a 20 megapixel camera, which is good enough for most 24x36 prints if you still print your own work. And it's a pretty decent photo camera. Actually, I'm gonna say it's an exceptional photo camera. I really love this camera for photography and for videography. So I prefer the Canon EOS R6 for hybrid shooting. That's just my preference. Now, I decided to go with the Canon EOS R6 versus the A7S III for a few reasons. The biggest one would be the experience. Honestly, I feel like a lot of people focus on gear, myself included, and it's always nice to dream about the gear, and I joke and call this gear porn, but in all honesty, it was getting in the way of my creativity and my shooting. And ever since I got the Canon EOS R6, it's just been fun to use, it's easy to pick up and go, and I find myself creating a ton more. I was very hard pressed to justify $1,000 more for the Sony A7S III. If you're already invested in the E-mount system, then it's not worth it to switch. If you're already invested in the Canon mount system and you've got a good amount of lenses, you can adapt them if they're EF to both the Sony and the R6. So you kind of have some wiggle room there, but if you are invested in the RF system, honestly, you're gonna do better just upgrading to one of these cameras. Now, the big differences are going to be the slow-mo capabilities of the Sony A7S III. At least those are some of the bigger differences. There's a lot of differences, but you're going to notice that you have more frame rates at higher resolutions than on the Canon EOS R6. So if you like shooting 120 frames per second, obviously that 4K 120 on the A7S III is going to be better. But for most viewing purposes, 1080 120 on the R6 is going to be just as good. They're both 10-bit, which is the most important thing. The dynamic range I found to be just close to the same, super close, honestly, for usable dynamic range. You get a little bit more stops with the A7S III, but honestly, I was really happy with the R6's dynamic range. Now, both these cameras offer 10-bit, which just means a ton of color, and it's what we've all been asking for, 4K 60, 10-bit, so they both offer that. Now, the bigger difference is going to be workflow, which is going to be a lot of people's deciding factors. I find that the R6 files are harder to work with because they're just super compressed. However, my workflow I have adapted where I transcode and optimize the media, converting it to ProRes, and it's just seamless and beautiful and no loss of quality. So if you're willing to process and transcode the clips, which takes maybe about an hour, I just leave my computer running, you are going to have a better time editing than on the A7S III. The A7S III, you can obviously do the same, but the straight out of camera clips are going to be easier to edit, but they will still bog down slower computers. Now, if you guys are editing on the iPad Pro, then you don't need to worry about anything. The H.265 files edit perfectly on iOS, and my girlfriend Chelsea has been editing our other channel's videos on the iPad, and she hasn't had any hiccups. So we went over frame rates, file sizes. Now, the next part we're gonna talk about is low light.
Fuck! Damn it! Just did this whole talking thing and it wasn't recording.
It was perfect. The dialogue was natural. It was all perfect.
Super natural.
Oh my god. For this portion of, god damn it. For this portion of the video, we are going to be comparing the low light of the Canon EOS R6 with the A7S III. We're just gonna glance through really quickly here, but Paul, you're doing an in-depth review of these two cameras.
Check out my channel.
Yeah, linked right up here somewhere. And you can check it out, see how it does for Astro, and really check out the low light, check out the noise. Like, you're gonna be doing way more in depth. Right here, we're gonna just show you some clips that we got at 12,800 ISO, both 4K 60, 1/25 of a second.
I was really surprised at how well both cameras looked at 4K 60.
Yeah, honestly, we had plenty of lighting, and it was really good. We talked so much better, and why did I not hit the record button? Like, we're just trying to nail everything. Dang.
We will try, actually we won't try, we're going to keep the settings exactly the same between both cameras.
Yeah, for his video specifically, for this sequence I'm about to show you guys, all the settings were the same.
Yep.
Camera, no, don't tell him yet. I'm gonna play the sequence for you guys right now. Let us know if you can see which camera's which. Now, it's really hard on YouTube to tell the difference between these cameras, especially since the main difference with the A7S III and the EOS R6 are dynamic range and the high ISO low light capabilities. So camera A was the EOS R6 and camera B was the Sony A7S III. Could you guys really tell the difference in this setting? I personally couldn't. Like,
it was really close.
They're both phenomenal.
Yeah, it goes without saying we used no noise reduction like post-production at all.
Yeah, we wanted
Just
to show you
graded.
guys just a small grade, both at their max settings as high as we could, and just keep it as fair as we can. Obviously, the A7S III is going to blow this camera, the EOS R6, out of the water because...
Honestly, we're recording this now not seeing the footage, so I don't know. I'm actually excited to see the footage.
Yeah. The Sony A7S III, because it's got larger photo sites, can handle the high ISO capability. It can handle high ISO without a lot of noise. This can't go past 25,600. You can go up into 512,000.
Yeah.
It's insane. So low light, fantastic on both of these cameras. The A7S III does have the advantage, and it is the low light king. There's no doubt about it, but you're very rarely gonna go past 12,800 ISO. And hey, we were able to get this shot of the night sky at, I think, 400,000 ISO at f2.8, and it's fine, I have it, it's really cool, I liked having that shot, but honestly, how often are you gonna be using that? So, the low light, these both just knock it out of the park, so you would be very happy with both. The A7S III, a little bit better after 12,800, just because it has that dual gain thing going on where all of a sudden it has noise reduction at 12,800. The Canon EOS R6 does have in-camera noise reduction, which works fantastic. I've been playing with that, and I set it to high, and it adds more noise reduction the higher ISO you go, which I haven't noticed a loss in image quality using that, so that's been fantastic. Now, obviously, the R6 has an advantage when it comes to stills, but that doesn't mean you can't take fantastic time lapses and stills with the A7S III. And I think we failed to get time lapse with the A7S III. We ran into technical difficulties with it, but the EOS R6 was able to capture a fantastic astro time lapse, and that was awesome. Now, the last thing that we are going to talk about is the overheat kind of issues that you can have with the EOS R6 and very rarely the A7S III. If you're doing long form content and you need a video camera, this is going to remove the Canon EOS R6 right now as I'm filming this video from your decision, from your purchase, from whatever, because long form content, you are going to experience some heating issues. By long form content, I mean you are shooting 30-minute intervals back to back to back. If you're shooting bursts, you just power off the camera, and I haven't had one overheating issue even in 100-degree temperatures with 90% humidity in Florida. So that is, for my needs and for a lot of people's needs, this camera is fantastic. The A7S III will blow this out of the water when it comes to long form content, but we took this out, Mojave, hot day, desert, played around in the sun, didn't have the overheat warning come up once on the EOS R6 or the A7S III, and we got some beautiful clips, and tell me if you guys can see the difference.
It's calling me, like the rainbow. It's calling me, like the rainbow, the rainbow.
Both cameras, phenomenal jobs, honestly. The big difference that you are going to see is the 4K 120 on the A7S III is just so beautiful, and we're only doing 4K 60 on the EOS R6. I do love that the EOS R6 is a little bit sharper because it's oversampled 4K, and I like just how quick it is to change the settings with the menu system and from the back of the camera, and it just feels better in the hands. I didn't have any dust issues. Paul kind of had to clean off the sensor a couple times because of that front curtain shutter going down when we changed lenses. I think that was a setting that was added on the A7S III, but we couldn't find it. And then the EOS R6, you can turn that setting off if you don't want it, but that setting made it super convenient for changing lenses. Now, we shot these on both of the native 15-35 for the EOS R6 and 16-35 with the Sony, and then we both use the same Sigma 150-600 adapted to each of our cameras to shoot this video. All in all, if you're gonna get either of these cameras, you are going to be very happy. Just focus on creating the best content you can, because we are not limited with these cameras one bit. They are amazing. You can do a lot of post-production work with that 10-bit color. The C-Log and S-Log 3 are now phenomenal logs on these cameras, and I definitely like the Canon ease of use and experience more, but I recognize that Sony has significantly better video features. Did I say significantly? Yeah, significantly. That 4K 120, it's awesome. But $1,000, that's a lens. Well, that's half a lens if you're buying RF. But if you aren't invested in any system, by the way, I personally would invest in the Canon system because I like what they're doing with their glass more. The E-mount has more glass available, but the Adaption is flawless, and Canon is hustling out amazing, innovative glass. I mean, their 70-200 is so portable, especially that new f4 as well that just came out. And then they released the 51.8 at $200, and then an 85 macro at, I think, $599 or something like that. Like, Canon is hustling out some phenomenal glass for this. And when it comes to, ding, I got a text. When it comes to a camera system, you need to look at the glass. That is going to be the most important thing, because camera bodies are going to get updated. And if you want 4K 120, you can get the R5, or you can just wait, because those features are coming to these cameras very quickly. And Canon also released that C70, which just 16 stops of dynamic range. Insanity. Insane. And a built-in ND filter, and that form factor. Man, I am popping. Okay, I guess this is where I'm going to conclude it. Let me know your opinions down below. And if you want to support this channel, you can definitely click on any of those affiliate links to buy these cameras or these lenses down below. I get a small kickback at no extra cost to you, and it supports me making these videos and, you know, eating. And if you guys feel like buying me a cup of coffee or something like that, you guys can also donate using the PayPal link down below. Yeah, I think that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video.